The message meant for someone else. In the far edge of the galaxy, a small alien colony was dying. The skies were black. The air was full of ash. The enemy had come without warning, burning homes, destroying crops, leaving nothing behind. The colony's leaders knew they wouldn't survive another attack. In desperation, they sent out a distress signal. It was a call for help, meant only for their ancient allies. The signal used old forgotten tech. It wasn't meant to go far. But something strange happened. The message hit something else first. Far beyond the known stars, drifting silently in the dark, was an old Terran satellite. It was hidden in the shadow of a dead moon. For hundreds of years it had been offline, silent, waiting. It wasn't just a machine, it was a guardian. When the alien signal touched it, the satellite woke up. Its systems flickered. Lights turned on. The signal was weak, but the words were clear. "We are under attack, please help, we are dying." The satellite didn't answer. Instead, it sent a single code back to Earth. Deep beneath Earth's surface, inside a mountain bunker no one remembered, a red light blinked. Old machines began to move. Screens lit up. A voice, cold and calm, spoke from the dark. Unauthorized signal received. Fleet response protocol activated. On the other side of the planet, inside frozen vaults, massive doors opened. Inside were ships. Not ordinary ships. These were war machines, built in a different time. A time when Earth prepared for a galaxy that forgot them. These were sleepers, silent for centuries but never dead. The message spread like fire across Mars, through hidden bases on Jupiter's moons. Even in the black void near Neptune, engines roared to life. One by one, ships turned toward the stars. Back on the alien colony, the leaders waited. No reply came. The skies grew darker. The enemy was returning. One elder with shaking hands whispered, "No one is coming," but they were wrong. A week later, sensors on the colony screamed. Something massive had entered the system. Hundreds of unknown ships shaped like blades in black stone dropped from hyperspace. They moved in perfect silence, not sending a single word. They didn't answer hails. They didn't ask questions. At the center of the fleet was a massive ship, larger than any the aliens had seen. Its sides glowed with soft red lights. Its engines burned blue. On its front, an old Terran symbol, forgotten by history, burned like fire. The alien leaders stood frozen. This was not rescue. This was something else. Then a voice echoed across every screen, in every language. This message was not meant for Earth, but Earth has received it. Identify your enemy. Panic spread across the system. The enemy, sensing something terrible, began to flee. But it was too late. The Terran fleet moved like shadows, silent, swift, deadly. One ship fired, a single beam of light. The enemy flagship vanished, turned to ash in an instant. The war had changed before it even started. In space, orbiting the alien colony, the Terran Warfleet watched. They had not come to speak. They had come to end threats. And somewhere, in the silence of deep space, the same satellite listened again for the next wrong signal. Because now, Earth was listening. The sky darkens. The alien planet Varun 6 had never seen anything like it. One moment, the skies were clear, just twin suns above, and the usual quiet buzz of atmospheric traffic. The next moment, the shadows arrived. Not one, not two, but thousands. Massive objects moved slowly through the upper layers of the atmosphere, too high to touch, too quiet to scream. They didn't announce themselves. They didn't send messages. They simply arrived. From the ground, watchers froze. The air shimmered with pressure. Military radars on the planet's surface began to glitch. Frequencies jammed, screens blacked out. Soldiers stared upward as dark arrowhead shapes blocked out the suns, one by one. "What are those?" whispered a young technician inside Varun. "Central Command." No one answered. Then the lead ship moved. It was unlike any alien design ever seen in the galaxy. Its hull was layered, jagged yet smooth. Heat signatures from its engines flared brighter than a star. It had no markings from any known empire. It had no name in their records. But deep within its core, behind the walls of carbon titanium and pulse core plating, sat a Terran AI, one that had waited too long in silence. Its first command? Scan for threats. Prepare for response. Barun's generals finally spoke. This is not a friendly ship. They were right, because the message sent across the stars, meant for allies in the Idari Union, had somehow reached Earth instead. And Earth remembered. The ship's weapons didn't power up. They hummed. The alien ships watched the Terran fleet. They didn't move. They didn't speak. They just floated in silence. From orbit, the view was terrifying. The human ships didn't look like ships. They looked like dark living mountains made of metal. Their edges were sharp. Their surfaces reflected no light, like they absorbed it. The alien commanders didn't know what to do. The message was meant for someone else. A broken signal. A mistake. But now Earth's Warfleet had arrived. One alien, Captain whispered. Why would humans send a whole fleet for a call that wasn't even for them? Another replied, Maybe. Maybe they think it was for them. Or maybe they don't care. Back on the main Terran command ship, larger than a city block, a single human officer stood at the glass observation deck. His face was cold, unreadable. He had seen this kind of fear before. In the old wars, when Earth had no allies, when humanity had to become something else just to survive. The alien council scrambled to send new messages, this time clear and desperate. We apologize. It was an error. Please stand down. But the humans didn't reply. Instead, a single Terran ship moved, not toward the planet, not toward the council fleet. It moved above them, blocking the sunlight. A shadow fell across the planet's surface. Entire cities looked up and froze. There, sky had gone dark. In deep space, one alien technician whispered, That ship, it's not just big, it's ancient. Scans confirmed it. The materials, the energy core, the drive signatures, it was all old, very old, older than most civilizations. Why is something that old still working? The technician asked. His commander didn't answer. He was shaking. Then came the sound. Not a message, not words. A deep, low hum spread through space, a vibration that made ship hulls tremble. A signal, felt, not heard. Some of the smaller alien ships lost control. Their systems shut down. Their lights flickered. Panic followed. On the surface below, alien civilians ran to bunkers. Children cried. Elderly fell to their knees. The sky remained black. Suddenly, beams of light flashed from the side of the Terran ships, not weapons, but scans. Deep scans, as if searching. They're looking for something, one alien officer said. Or someone, another guessed. And then the impossible happened. The largest Terran warship unfolded. Its outer plating shifted and moved, like armor peeling, open. Underneath was something else, something glowing, something alive. A core made of energy and darkness spun at its center. The light it gave off was not like normal light. It pulsed, like a heartbeat. The alien council watched the feed. In silence, one of them whispered, It's not just a ship, it's a god. Every leader from every star system stared at the screen. The human warship was still unfolding. Metal plates moved like wings, slow and careful. The glowing core pulsed, brighter now. It wasn't just technology, it was something else, something ancient, something watching. They're scanning our entire network, whispered one of the alien ministers. Another leader stood and shouted, Why are they here? We didn't ask for this. But someone replied quietly, We didn't ask, but they came, because someone, somewhere, cried for help. And humans don't ignore cries for help. In deep orbit, the Terran fleet spread out like a giant net. Small escort ships flew in perfect formation. No sound, no message, no warning. The largest human ship, known now by the aliens as the God Ship, pointed one of its glowing towers toward the planet. A quiet hum started again, but this time something strange happened. The clouds above the planet split open. Thunder cracked through the sky without lightning. The oceans below began to ripple in unnatural patterns. Animals ran from the forests. Machines broke without being touched. And then, people, alien civilians, began to hear it. Voices, not in their ears, but in their minds, memories, old fears, echoes of wars never spoken aloud. Each alien felt a presence, as if something, or someone, was crawling through their thoughts. A scientist in a deep vault screamed, "The ship is talking to us." But there were no words, only emotions, pain, rage, loss, fire, silence. The kind of feelings no normal machine could understand. Up in the queue.
Orbit, one of the alien destroyers, turned its guns toward the Terran fleet.
Just in case. But before a shot was fired, it vanished, not exploded, not destroyed, erased. It blinked out of reality like a flame snuffed by the wind. Nothing remained. The message was clear. Don't try. Don't resist. Don't threaten. On the bridge. Of the God Ship, the human officer finally spoke. For the first time since arrival. Scan complete. Another voice replied, mechanical and cold. No origin of distress located, but traces found in signal trail. Suggest proceeding to sector 5B. The officer nodded once. Proceed. Suddenly the Terran fleet turned, not toward the alien homeworld, not toward the Council fleet. They turned away. They came, looked, judged, and now they were leaving. Just like that. The aliens stood in shock. One council member finally found the courage to ask, why would they leave? And the answer came, not from a voice but as text burned into every screen across their systems. We weren't here for you. The lights on the God Ship faded, and the entire fleet vanished in a blink, faster than light, no trace left behind. But the silence left behind was louder than war. They didn't destroy anyone, but they could have. They didn't answer questions, but they knew everything. They didn't fight, because they didn't need to. Now the whole galaxy had only one thought left. If that wasn't a warning, then what happens when they really get angry? They're not here to talk. The sky above Valtrax 9 cracked like thunder. What looked like stars falling from orbit were not meteors, but ships, hundreds, maybe thousands. They didn't arrive in silence. The air hummed. Static electricity danced on every surface. The moment a Terran Warfleet pierced the upper atmosphere, all alien communication channels went dead. Lights flickered, scanners failed. It was like the very planet froze in terror. High command of the Rithari Alliance tried to regroup. They still believed Earth could be reasoned with, but their own citizens no longer believed it. People ran from the cities, heading for the mountains, for bunkers, for any place far from the glowing sky. From orbit, the Terran Warfleet looked like a storm front of metal and vengeance. Each ship was shaped like a blade, silent but full of fury. Black, silver, and crimson hulls reflected the fires of the planet's sun. No signal came from them. No warning. No peace talk. Only movement. Then came the sound. It wasn't a language. It wasn't even words. It was a pulse. A deep thudding sound that echoed through the bones of every living creature on Valtrax 9. Some dropped to their knees in panic. Others clutched their ears. Buildings shook. Power grids failed. And then the Terran ship stopped. They hovered just above the capital city. A single light shot from one of the lead warships. It didn't destroy. Not yet. It scanned. The scan wasn't gentle. It peeled through layers, stone, metal, biosignals, marking every structure, every defense system, every leader's location. Then one word finally came through the static. Observed. That was it? No demand, no message, no request, just one cold confirmation. Observed. The Rithari leaders looked at each other in horror. They knew this wasn't war. It was judgment, and Earth had arrived not to ask why the message was sent, but to decide who would still breathe when they left. Judgment protocol initiated. The moment the word observed vanished from the sky, a deep silence gripped Valtrax 9. It was the kind of silence that came before destruction. Then came the red lines. Dozens of them, thin as thread, fell from the Terran warships like beams of light, but they were no weapons. They scanned, mapped, calculated every military base, every government bunker, every weapon satellite, even hidden escape routes. Exposed. Inside the command center of the Rithari Council, panic turned to despair. Generals shouted for missiles to be launched, for planetary shields to be raised. But every command failed. Screens blinked red. Systems refused to obey. One frightened tech whispered, "We've lost control of our own defenses." On the edge of the capital, thousands of civilians gathered in the streets staring up. The Terran ships had not moved. They hung above like silent executioners, each one bigger than any structure below. And then, without a sound, a beam fell from the lead ship. Not a weapon. A message, projected into the sky in every known language. "You fired first. This is the last time." Below, the ground cracked. A deep vibration moved across the planet like an oncoming wave. From the mountain ranges came tremors. From oceans, massive tides rose. And from beneath the cities came light. The light wasn't natural. It was coming from old Terran tech, buried long ago, forgotten, dormant, now awakened. Towers rose from underground, black steel and glowing red veins. They weren't buildings. They were weapons, left behind from Earth's last visit millennia ago. Earth hadn't returned for a war. They had left war here, waiting. And now the planet was no longer Valtrax 9. It was Terran Ground Zero. A voice echoed across all frequencies. Judgment protocol initiated. The end of silence. For 3 full minutes, the galaxy held its breath. Every channel, every frequency, every system. Silent. Valtrax 9 was no longer just a world under siege. It had become a warning. Across nearby star systems, ships turned back. Messages were left unread. Fleets powered down. Because above Valtrax 9, the Terran Warfleet had moved, not forward, down. The ships began descending, slow, controlled, and unstoppable. The atmosphere itself bent around them as ancient technology pushed aside physics like a curtain. The alien leaders screamed for surrender, for negotiation, for mercy. No reply came, only the glow of Terran red streaks lighting the sky. Then, the towers activated. Buried Terran construct and the awakened in Part 6 began firing thin beams into the sky. Not to attack, but to connect. The entire planet became a node, a piece of an ancient network. Valtrax 9's sky opened up, not from attack but from reality bending. A massive Terran gateway formed above the capital, revealing other warships. Thousands of them. Each one carried the seal of Earth. Each one had been waiting for this signal. This wasn't a rescue, it was the return of the Terran Protocol. A system-wide failsafe that Earth had built into forgotten worlds. Worlds that had betrayed, attacked, or once belonged to the Terran Alliance. Valtrax 9 had triggered the final key. Now in orbit, the Warfleet broadcast one last message. Let this silence be your lesson. Earth does not forget. Then came the final strike. Not a beam or a bomb, but a blackout. Planet-wide. Every weapon, every ship, every satellite. Gone. Valtrax 9 remained. But its power, pride, and threat were erased. In the silence that followed, other empires listened and feared, because one wrong signal brought a Terran Warfleet, and there was no undoing the call.